Good morning and welcome to day 3 of these Easter week reflections. Yesterday I talked about avoiding the rocks and deciding to hang out with Jesus the rest of my life. Today is about what happened next. The first thing that Jesus dealt with really, which was to do with money. Jesus is not anti-money, it's a really useful thing, a store of value, a means of exchange, but he is anti-love of money. And I was someone whose childhood ambition was to make pots of money. I was potentially a money addict. In the autumn of 1980, a few months after I became a Christian, I went on a mission with Ian Knox, and he talked about the need to tithe, to give 10% of our income away. And I think that was a real challenge to me. I was in danger of being a money addict, and I had to learn to defile money by giving it away so I could learn to possess money without being possessed by it. And I found that really difficult for a while, and it was probably 2 or 3 years before there was a kind of breakthrough and I could be excited about being able to give more money. And this passage, which is in Philippians 4, verse 11 and 12, I think is really helpful for people of any or no faith. Paul says, I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learnt the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or want. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. And we have certainly known times of poverty. We lost both incomes shortly after our first child was born, and discovered the amazing generosity of church and family in looking after us, and also in recent years known relative wealth, and then seen it chunks of it evaporate in the last month or so. Easter week talks about money. There's the pigeons, in a sense, the turning over of the tables of the money changers in the temple by Jesus, but also the perfume incident where a woman pours a very expensive alabaster jar of perfume over Jesus's feet. And Jesus gets criticized for it because it seems such a waste. And it seems to me that there is a balance between good stewardship. Yes, we need to be good stewards of the resources that God has given us, but also at times reckless generosity, responding to need, to God's call, to treat money lightly. That's really what it's all about. When King David received the amazingly generous contributions to the building of a temple in Jerusalem, he said, who am I and who are my people that we should be able to be as generous as this? For everything belongs to God, and of his own do we give. And I think that what rises from that is it's not really about giving 10% of what we have. It's actually, what right have we got to keep 90% of what God has given us to look after? And if we are relatively wealthy, maybe we should keep less than 90%. The key, I think, is holding money lightly. That doesn't mean that we can't enjoy money and sometimes be extravagant. That's fine. And it doesn't mean that we're not upset when we lose it. In the last month, I found it quite difficult to see life savings evaporate. But that's partly because I was cross with my own action or inaction around that. But I know that there is treasure for me in heaven, and worldly life assurance pales into insignificance compared with what God has for us in the future. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about a really life-defining aspect that's kind of related to money, really life-changing. I hope you will join me then. Thanks.